welcome back to another episode of Sit and Spin with me, your host, Joe Royland. Today on the show, it's going to be the first of a two-parter that we're calling the 1992 Vinyl Reissue Review, and that is because there are two bands, one from the US, one from the UK, who have recently reissued seminal albums from their career on vinyl, because both are celebrating their 20th anniversary this year, both originally released in 1992. The first one that we're going to be talking about today is from the band Buffalo Tom, and the new deluxe anniversary reissue of their album, Let Me Come Over. Now, Buffalo Tom is an alt-rock band out of Boston, Massachusetts, formed by the friendship of three University of Amherst students, Bill Janowitz on guitar and vocals, Chris Colborn on bass and vocals, and Tom McGinnis on drums. They derived their name from the band The Buffalo Springfield and the drummer's first name, so kind of random, but there you go. The group signed a deal with, initially there was SST Beggars Banquet Records in 1988, released their first record, self-titled, and then their sophomore effort, Bird Brain, came out in 1990, and that was when Beggars Banquet was being distributed by RCA Records. Both records were produced by Friend and Dinosaur Jr. frontman Jay Mascis, leading some to refer to them as Dinosaur Jr. Jr. initially, mainly because of the similar sound between two bands, just that both bands used like a lot of distortion in the guitars, kind of loud, punky, fast. I never kind of got that, but I started from this record and worked my way backward and worked my way forward. And if you are familiar with the show My So-Called Life, also from the 90s, you probably are already familiar with Buffalo Tom too, because a lot of the music from the album that would follow this record, Big Red Letter Day, would get used in that show as well, and even some of their older stuff as well. But it was pretty much with this album, released in 1992, Let Me Come Over, that the band really kind of truly came into their own sound. The record was produced by Paul Q. Caldery, pardon me if I massacred your name there, Paul, and Sean Slade, the partnership producers and engineers from the own Fort Apache Studios in Massachusetts. And these guys had previously worked with a lot of other Massachusetts artists like the Pixies, Juliana Hatfield, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Throwing Muses, Morphine, and would later work with the likes of people like Radiohead and Uncle Tupelo and Hole. And they kind of brought their own sonical magic to the sound of Buffalo Tom and just brought out the better aspects of the band's sound. They toned down the distorted guitars a little bit, took just enough of the rough edges off, kind of mixed in more acoustic guitars to the sound and more clean electrics to kind of sweeten things up a bit, give it a more fuller sound. And that really played off on tracks like the song you're hearing right now, Taillights Fade, which one of my favorite Buffalo Tom songs. Also other tracks on this album like Mineral, Larry, Porch Light, all great tracks that kind of lay the blueprint for the sound of Buffalo Tom after this and the releases that would follow. Most of the songs are sung by Bill Janowitz, with a couple per album, sometimes two or three or more, are sung by bassist Chris Colborn. The songs on this album would be Darl and I'm Not There. Now, aside from the nice remastered version of Let Me Come Over, there is also a bonus previously unreleased live concert, live from London ULU 92, that comes with both the vinyl version of the album and the CD version of the album, but there are some differences between the two. This is the vinyl version. The inner sleeve actually did a nice job of kind of making it look like its own little record on the cover there. On the back, there's a nice essay about the show. Different from the other album that comes in this, in that it's just in a kind of plain black paper sleeve, but it's a great sounding live concert. In fact, so good sounding that it's almost hard to tell that it's live at some points until you actually hear it, because the audience noise in between songs, because that's how good the record sounds, and also how good Buffalo Tom is as a band, that they just can perform almost exactly the way the record sounds in the studio. But most of this record was recorded before Let Me Come Over was released. So a lot of the songs are off on this record, and the vinyl version of this album pretty much does that. It's 10 tracks on the vinyl version of the record, whereas on the CD and the digital version it's actually 17 tracks, so you get the more complete concert. But because of time constraints on vinyl, this would have had to be a 2-record set all on its own to get the full complete concert. But what they did with the vinyl version is they kind of did like highlights, and they focused mainly on the songs that would comprise Let Me Come Over, with a few other choice cuts from the first two albums, notably songs like Bird Brain and Sunflower Suit. So you might not get the whole exact show, but you're getting the better part of it, and it's still great even just having the 10 tracks. I was surprised the record didn't actually come with a digital download. I'd read initially someplace that it was supposed to, but not one to be found in my record. Not anything that I found when I looked at the CD or the standard versions of the album, because this is actually, we'll get to this in a minute, this is actually a deluxe limited edition variant vinyl version of the record. But one other thing that's different between the CD and the vinyl versions is that if you get the CD version, you actually get the original bonus track that appeared on the CD, a song called Crutch. Doesn't make it onto the vinyl version again because of time constraints of vinyl. They would have had to squeeze it in and it would have made the vinyl sound not as good as it could. Now, talking about that variant deluxe edition, this is actually the Newberry Comics exclusive vinyl version, which comes on this lovely red yellow split vinyl. It's pretty cool. And this yellow color, the actual CD itself, the original Let Me Come Over CD, the color of the face of the CD is almost exactly that color yellow. So I don't know if that was on purpose or just an accident, but kind of cool, nice touch for that. And this record, actually, if you want it on vinyl, if you don't have a Newberry Comics from you, I am including a link to Newberry Comics in the original notes to the show, so if you want this version, you can order it from them. It's still available from them. But if you just are a standard black vinyl fan, you can get that as well at your local record store. They should have both of them. This actually came out a week or two before the standard black vinyl version did. And also want to let you know, too, that aside from this great 25th anniversary deluxe reissue, the band have a new album in the works. You can go to the band's Pledge Music site to order a copy of it and bid on other cool items that they have going there. There's also a link to that included in the original slow notes. And definitely go and check that out. They're out on tour now. I missed their recent tour stop here because I couldn't find a sitter, much like my 20-month-old wasn't helping me out get the show recorded on time for yesterday to be up. Did help me get a sitter that night to go see the band live, but that's that. I've seen Buffalo Tom like a half dozen times before, so it's okay that I missed them on this tour. But they are actually doing the whole album in its entirety as like part of a two-part set, and then the second set is all material from the rest of their career. Now, another story I wanted to tell you on this, I actually posted this on my Facebook page right when I first got this record, was back when this album originally came out, I used to write for a local New England newspaper called Face Magazine. It used to be originally known as Sweet Potato. And me and my friend, fellow writer Steve Curtis, used to do a lot of record reviews and show reviews and whatnot. But at the time, I was going through a really bad breakup, and it had a bit of writer's block going on. And Steve, being the friend he was and stuff, he said, he had this idea of how to break me out of this funk. And he said, hey, why don't you bring over some of the albums that you want to review? You can play them, we'll listen to them, and then we'll play some of the stuff that I want to review too. And he just figured, no, like, I'll get him out of the house, I'll give him something to do and get him more focused on this, and hopefully that'll break him out of his funk. And sure enough, it worked, and mainly, I credit that a lot to this record. Now, this wasn't one I was reviewing, this was actually one Steve was reviewing. And when he first put it on, by the time I got in the Taillights Fade, second track on the album, I was sold on Buffalo Tom, and just listened to the rest of the record. I loved it. Went out and bought the CD the next day, and I was kind of like, hey dude, let me review this, and just begging him to let me do it. He wouldn't do it, but now this was finally my chance to review Let Me Come Over 25 years later, to a degree. So definitely, if you're a Buffalo Tom fan, go out and pick this up. It's well worth having this new edition of the album. If you don't know anything about Buffalo Tom, just like me, great place to start. And that is the show, part 1 for today. Tune in tomorrow for part 2, where we'll be talking about the newly released version of this album on vinyl. Check in then, find out all about it. Until then, take it easy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Sit and Spin. See you then.